can you see this person's perspective, but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Ooh, we unpacking a heavy suitcase today. How are you, Teri Pugh?
If I felt any better, I would need to be a twin. I feel pretty darn tootin' good, as we say, Tennessee. How are you, Devon?
I'm getting better every day, y'all.
Good.
I had I dealt with COVID, and there are all sorts of people said, "Oh, it's just a bad flu." Well, it may be, but there's something really different about this one. I think the fear when you deal with something that the week that I was suffering with COVID, and even with all of my vaccinations, I was triple vaxxed and had been. I live in an immune building kind of a way, and I try to stay really healthy as far as what I do. But man, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And every day I had a different friend that I would hear that was passing away. And I've got, and I want to lift up Blake Mevis right now. He is really dealing with it right now. And so there are people, it's something when you hear about people dying the whole time that you're sick, and they're dying with what you have, it affects you differently. And I wasn't prepared for that feeling. My friend Mark Elliott, who also was in the hospital with his triple vaxxed as well. And so he said, when there are code blues on your floor of the hospital every day, like over and over and over. So the fear factor was pretty big, but I'm through it. And I think I'm finally getting my taste and smell back. I think I'm finally getting through the brain fog. It was real.
Brain fog. Yeah. I can't imagine.
I would be like in the middle of just in the middle of somewhere and going, why am I here? What am I doing here?
Well, girl, that's like any given Thursday for me. So I'm just saying.
Oh, well, I'm Devon O'Day, and Teri and I meet here every week in the midweek, hump day, and we are just trying to get over the hump and kind of unpack some really heavy suitcases for a lighter spirit. Candy Seaton joins us. Hello, Candy. And Joyce is with us. She's part of our group. And Elizabeth joins us. Good morning. Good morning.
I knew Elizabeth would be here. Well, I knew all three of those would be here, but it's always lovely to see their little iconic faces pop up for us.
Absolutely. Elizabeth says COVID's a different kind of sick. Hit me that way too. And Candy, I know she and I had it at the same time. Ooh, my goodness. Can I smell or taste again? I'm working on it. And my friend Amanda sent me this very, very cool thing to help retrain. It's called a smell retraining kit. You can get them at Amazon. And it's
nice.
A way to get your olfactory senses working again. So I'm going to try that. And Leslie joins us. Hi, Leslie. Hey, I think she's in North Carolina, I think. Anyway, we just have our little self-help group here. And I didn't tell Teri what I want to talk about because she's going, what?
I'm like, well, okay, let's just do this. Like whatever, right. I literally just found out what we were talking about when I went to my Facebook page and I saw this big thing. Like the first thing that popped up was some liar. And I thought, well, Lord, I've been hacked. And then I realized it was what you had put on there. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's me.
I'm like, let's just do this.
Well, I want to talk about the value of our word. And is lying always wrong? Is lying always bad? Or is holding in and withholding and not saying something the same as lying? If someone asks us and we withhold and we keep it to ourselves, what is the value of our word? How important is it to always tell the truth? And
I would
also
say
big suitcase.
Who are the people around you that you can trust with your truth? because, we can say, is it lying? Well, sometimes it may be telling an untruth, but if telling an untruth or omitting something is going to keep you from having neglectful energy or abusive energy, then you have to choose if you're going to subject yourself to someone that's going to harm you or if you're not.
Right. Well, Elizabeth likes this topic. And I think this is a scary topic because I know for a fact there is that, well, if you can't say something good, just don't say it. And I've been very guilty of withholding because I was afraid if I told the truth, it would either end a relationship or end a friendship of some sort, end a business arrangement. And then later on, it came out and they said, well, you knew and you didn't tell me.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about how to share with someone the truth. And the scripture says, share the truth in love. How do you tell someone the truth if you know it's going to hurt them?
Well, you just share the truth. I mean, I don't mean to be, this feels a little insensitive to say that if someone is saying, be honest with me, then your ability to be honest with them, you're not really responsible for their ability to be honest with themselves. If they are asking for the truth, then they have to be accountable and responsible to be in a position where they can be a container. There's lots of different ways lots of different ways to deliver a message, be it, if we're doing it out of spite or if we're doing it out of genuine kindness and tenderness. And there's ways of doing that. If you need to bring up a topic or something with someone who's very dear to you, you can preface it with, that you are a treasured friend and I feel called or I feel, the need to share this with you. You can also ask people if they would like your feedback. Sometimes people are well aware and they don't want to hear it, If we have some examples, if you have some examples, Devon, or if someone listening has some examples and you want to throw them out there, we can absolutely navigate, some scenarios and how to do that. But, you also have to know some people don't have a foundation where truth can bloom. So you have to know where you're laying that,
Candy shares honestly, but not bluntly hurtful. Very, very, very good. Elizabeth shares, there are some people in my life that I could never lie to under any circumstances. There are also people that I'd be hurt by the lying more than I would the truth. Ooh, that's really good. Joyce, it's so funny. The other day when Teri showed her new hair color, I answered, no kidding, it looks great. And it did, because I've been guilty of telling people on Facebook something looks good when I probably didn't really feel it.
Aw. Well, thank you, Joyce. And yeah. I replied to Joyce on that. I love it when people, give feedback. And the beautiful thing about that is if you have a job, have a partner, have a hair color, have a whatever, your favorite tweed suit that you're wearing, if you feel good with that stuff, like other people can like it or not like it. I mean, but it's nice to know that people are being impeccable with their word when they are sharing their word.
There's a difference. Now, here's something that we brought up. There's a difference in subjective opinion and the truth.
Mm-hmm.
There are some days it's like today, if my mother saw this, my mother would be upset because she's like, you didn't straighten your hair and I don't like it. And it looks terrible. That's what my mom would say. That's an opinion and it's a subjective opinion and that's not necessarily the truth. When someone doesn't like something that you have on, that's their opinion. That may not be the truth. If someone is being cheated on by someone and they're investing their life with that person and they say, what do you think? And you know for a fact that this person is taking them down the wrong path. That, however, is the truth. That is a truth statement. Opinion is very different from fact or truth. So, and just because someone doesn't like something that you have on or whatever, that can be hurtful. But if someone has split their britches, like I was ready to go out and lead a tour group in Ireland and I bent over and I had split my britches, but I didn't know I had split my britches. I didn't know until someone was very honest and said, you can't wear those. And I go, why, you don't like them? No, your underwear is orange. And okay, I get that. So that is the difference between truth and opinion. Candy shares, I would rather people be truthful. I can accept that a lot easier because that is their opinion. Okay.
A lot of times it gets sticky when you're dealing with family. Let's say, for instance, you've got a family function coming up and somebody wants you to be there and you really don't want to be there because maybe you just don't want to be around those people. And that's okay. You don't always want to be around your family. I mean, I think everybody who has a family at some point can go, Lord have mercy, they drive me crazy. So what do you do when they say, well, why don't you want to come? That gets us into those little places where people don't want to hurt their feelings, but they also don't want to, they don't want to tell the truth. They also don't want to feel like they need to make up a bucket of, white, so to speak, little untruths. But sometimes just you can be honest without being, as Candy said, brutally, hurtful. You can say, right now I just would rather hang out at home. I don't have the energy right now to put out into a large group of people. That's a very easy way of saying, y'all drive me butt ass crazy and I don't want to be around you. But it's a way of saying it where you're just reframing your words,
Reframing the words is a great way to tell the truth. Candy got tickled over that. She says, laugh out loud. I tell the family that I don't want to be around, that I don't want to be around the drama. See, there's that, and I've started asking for what I need. It's like, what? I need some solitude. I'm just too exhausted to do it. And I'm learning, and my friend Steve is helping me understand this. And he said, I'm going to help you say no. And if you need me to make the call, I will. I go, that's a real friend who'll go and he'll tell the truth, and say, look, I don't know these people. I'll tell them, no, she's exhausted and she needs to not do that. I go, no, I can handle it. But it's a good friend who would offer. Elizabeth says, yes, opinion is very different than fact. I may tweak the truth on my opinion, but lying about fact is completely different. That's brilliant. Practicing it in all our affairs, Elizabeth. That's I know exactly what word that is. And being truthful in love. And I like how you said that. I love you and you mean a lot to me. And I would hate for you to be hurt. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to tattle or whatever. I'm not squealing on anybody, but I care about you. Here's why I need to tell you this. And it's going to hurt. It's going to sting. That's one thing I've noticed that you say, Teri. You always let me know if you need to tell me a truth. You go, now this might sting a little.
This might sting a little. Yep. That's a staple in my language when I'm talking with people is this might sting a little. Because the truth is sometimes, if we're dealing with, let's just say there's a hypothetical of you have a friend who has a partner who is, skirting around on the side. That person may actually already know it and just not want to face it. So that sting may not be the same sting as not knowing it at all. But yes, being first off, there's not one of us on the earth that doesn't lie or twist the truth in some way, shape, or form.
Important to know.
I think that we like to think we don't, But I think that if we've ever told our child there's Santa Claus, then we've done it. Depends on how you look at it, right?
Yeah.
So I think our culturally and socially, we make a power statement by saying, I don't lie. Well, rather than saying you don't lie, just be impeccable with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Speak from the truth, speak from and understanding, just like Candy and Elizabeth have both led to, someone's opinion is their opinion. That's across the board. Look now, we've got vaccines, non-vaccines, public or Democrat,
right,
Republican. You got all these, there's sides to everything. And every side is going to have their own version of the truth. Homeschoolers versus public schoolers, they have their own version of the truth. So they're not really, that's a difference in, again, that's the opinion thing. That's not a lie when someone is sharing something of that nature. When it comes down to, I think the biggest times that we as human beings lie is when we're lying to ourselves. And that is by far the most intimate relationship we will ever be in. And we will lie to ourselves and then somehow or another find a way to justify it or to believe it. We'll tell a lie and then we'll convince ourselves it's true. I'm not good enough. Like,
important.
What armpit did you grab that out of? And then we will convince ourselves. And here's why I'm not good enough. Here's why I'm not lovable. Here's why I don't sing well enough. Here's why I'm not creative enough. And then we will other people that will be saying that's not true. We won't even give them the grace of creating a container to put their truth to change our disbelief.
Right. Candy says, I just had this conversation yesterday with a cousin, told her I didn't accept a friend request from her brother because I don't want to be around his drama and trauma. And she knew I meant that I don't trust him either. That's the deal. We have a delete button, a block button, a ignore button in social media. Social media can really take us down a path. Oh,
if we let it.
Yeah.
If we let it.
And let's talk a little bit about the phrase, be impeccable with your word and where that comes from. There is a book and you've got a workshop coming up that you're going to be unpacking, a wonderful book that I think if you have not read it, you need to read it. And if you have read it, you might need to read it again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Don Miguel Ruiz has a book called The Four Agreements. Mm-hmm. And being impeccable with your word is the first agreement. And then there are the three other agreements, which are don't take things personally, always do your best, and don't make assumptions. Now, in the perfect world, we as human beings would float around on our fluffy cloud and be able to accomplish all four of those at any given moment, at any given day. But we're human. And so there's a lot of past experiences, a lot of yet to be determined future experiences, and a lot of present moment things that can get us a little twisted up and snared up in all of that. So being impeccable with your word falls in line with speaking your truth from a place of consciousness, from mindfulness, from directness, and with integrity. Basically, it falls in that, that arena that we've heard, say what you mean and mean what you say. And it's important, especially as individuals, to start practicing that with ourselves.
Yep. Absolutely the truth. Absolutely the truth. That book was very, very important and pivotal to me. Mm-hmm. And be impeccable with your word. I would say yes to everything. Let's just say it. I mean, I just said yes to everything and then resent that I said yes. Mm-hmm. And that part of that's also a form of lying. Yeah, I would love to do that. No, No. Truth is, you've said yes to too much and you don't want to do that. And there's a way to say no in kindness without destroying a friendship. And I think that that's really important. And I think that this workshop is going to be very, very important to unpack those 4 agreements will be life changing. I remember I would write them down and I would put the little Post-it notes all over my house just to remind myself. And Candy says, that's the people pleaser in you, Devon. I've done it for so long too. And yeah, it is. And we have to learn that is a way of lying to ourselves, to say yes to someone because we want them to like us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
we don't find value enough in ourselves just as we are.
Absolutely. And people pleasing is a form of self-preservation in a lot of ways, because when we may not fully believe in the integrity and the wholeness of who we are, we will pour every bit of our battery into someone else so that we can live from their lens that we're good enough, rather than living from our own lens, rather than living from our own truth. And the tricky thing with that is that when we're so eager to pour all of our love, attention, positivity, kindness, whatever it is that we're pouring into another person, very mindful of who we're pouring that into, because out of 10 birds on a wire, you might pour into 7 or 2 that are genuinely good people who will reciprocate that back to you with integrity and honesty. And you're going to find some people who are just going to take.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Candy says it is. I had to stop it. I didn't realize that I'd started doing it as a child so I could get attention from my parents. Yeah. Or approval from my parents. Teresa now is opening up a new can, and we're moving. We know about the lies ourselves, and that's because we have a 30-minute show, so we try to condense as much as we can. Teresa says, I have a daughter that lies every other sentence. I don't trust her, and I hate that. I don't even tell a little white lie. I think because I've seen the damage her lying has done. What happens and how do we handle when we have connection with a liar? I know that when we have children in active addiction, lying is an issue as well. So how do we deal with a liar in our own lives?
Well, if we know that they're a liar, just like Teresa just said, she creates that, she has to create that, it's like a layer of protection. You know, we have to not assume also, you know, it's not just around addiction that people, I know some folks who are not addicted who will lie. They are compulsive liars, or some people will call them habitual liars. And that is where I believe personally that a person gets to a place where they don't trust themselves enough to speak their truth. So they will fabricate it. And it can be anything as, you know, hey, we're all going to meet at 7. And then everybody gets there at 7 and they're like, well, no, I said 8. No, there's 9 of us here. You said 7. No, I didn't. I said 8. Rather than, because there's underneath there somewhere, there's a punitive repercussion. And sometimes people get so comfortable with telling untruths that truly they're not even connected to what's coming out of their mouth. They just say it. And it sounds crazy to even think that, but there are, you know, there's people who will self-preserve, protect. They will just tell an untruth. And it's not, you know, like I said, it's not because they are addicted. It's not, they get in such a repetitive cycle of doing that I personally believe that they lose a sense of who they are. And it's just very matter of fact. The same way some people will, without really thinking about it, they'll cuss, you know, they'll swear, or some people will, the little idiosyncrasies that people have.
Right.
Being untruthful is another one of those things that people can do on a very frequent and it feels very familiar to them, because it's a level of, I can be untruthful, but then because it is untruth, I can switch it to be whatever it needs to be. So it remains a moving part.
Mm-hmm. Teresa says she's not addicted to drugs, but shopping. She'll hide it from her husband. See, we always think and that's active addiction too. I'm just going to say, I mean, we all have things, and we learn the thing that we do to fill the hole that we have in our lives, whether it's shopping, whether it's clutter, there are things that we are addicted to. Elizabeth has her take. I definitely learned to lie as a child. There were secrets that I knew not to talk about. It was all about what those outside the family saw. Ooh, big. Screaming like banshees on the way to church, but when you walk in, you look like the picture of the perfect Christian family.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, to Teresa's point in that, the shopping is a form of, addiction is addiction. The drug of choice, as I say, can be anything. It can be literal drugs, or it can be alcohol, or it can be any type of substance, or shopping, or porn, or relationships, or toxic relationships, or caregiving, or fixing other people. It can be.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Fixing other people can be your addiction. Okay, I want to make sure that sunk right in there, because a lot of times when we think we're doing good, that our sidewalks are clean, but no, we got dirty sidewalks.
And at the root of that, for so many people, is shame. Now we can't
let that settle in. The root of that is shame. And that's an important thing we need to take with this right now. Why do we lie? Sometimes at the bottom of that, just peel back that onion, peel it back all the way to the bottom, and that soft center is the shame that we carry.
And we do, and I usually will use the word untruthful over lying, because lying seems to be so punitive. For many of us growing up, it was that, don't you lie to me. And it was very accusatory. So lying is like, but I don't lie. Like, I don't lie.
Right.
But we do tell untruths. And I see it. We all see it. We all see it every day. If you're talking to somebody and you say, how are you today? And they go, I'm good. I'm fine. They ask you, you've got and there's a difference between someone saying, how are you today? And you as a sort of the brush over, I'm doing good, or I'm fine, rather than going, Lord, girl, pull up a chair. Let me just tell you how I'm doing, because not everybody really wants that when they're asking you how you're doing. But we have to be honest with ourselves, and not to tell ourselves the situation behind the curtain that we're struggling with is fine. We have to be willing to say, this is something, I want to look at. I would need to start kind of wading through this,
Leslie says it's hard being around habitual liars, because if they lie about the small stuff, it's hard to trust anything they say, especially the important things. You're true. It's like that said of the thief, if they'll steal the small things, they'll steal the big things. You can't ever trust that, another form of lying. Well, okay, to close the conversation and then we'll give you the details on the workshop. Being impeccable with our word, lying, liars. Now let's talk about forgiveness for the lie. When we find out that someone we love has either not been truthful, or they've withheld, or we've withheld from someone and they're angry with us, how do we deal and how do we find and move past into a forgiveness state if we want to salvage that relationship?
Well, that takes two, and it also takes one. First, you can't really salvage anything that another person is wanting to continue to make you pay for. And then you have to ask yourself, is it worth salvaging? can be a friendship. It can be whatever. It's not, if someone, and this kind of gets off of the being untruthful, but if you're looking for forgiveness, the first person you need to start with is yourself. Forgiving yourself for whatever your action is that led to the domino effect of whatever it was that happened. If you were the person who another person is coming, like if I were coming to you, Devon, and asking you for forgiveness for something, first, I would need to be accountable on my end for my actions. And I would need to forgive myself first. Because by forgiving myself first, I'm not attached to whether or not you forgive me or not. Because in the perfect world, yes, you would forgive me and we would continue, being friends. But if you don't forgive me because you're mad about something or you're salty about something or somebody didn't deliver the hay and now you need to target, so you take that out on me, then I can turn into the caregiver. Well, what can I do to help her now? How many flips can I turn backwards? Devon needs to like me again. I need Devon to like me again. Well, if we like ourselves and we truly love ourselves, then we won't barter our own peace of mind away in the hopes of, we won't put all of our happiness in another person's pocket and hope that they will give us the deservingness of being whole, happy, or even forgiven.
Let me tell you the story of Sally. Sally was happy. She's perfect in her little life, a little square, just like perfect. There's wonderful, loving that husband. Everything was great, wonderful. Then her husband walks in and he says, head and hands, I am so sorry, but I've been having an affair. I don't want to lose my marriage. I want to tell you the truth, and I want to fix this. She takes him back because she's feeling pretty good about herself. She was mad at him though. And so every time anything happened, she brought it up. She lorded it over him. Now, here's the deal. Sally always thought, now this is actually a true story, and Sally actually thought all her life that whenever she had him, that he was going to leave her at any moment. And she lived her life that way. But then all of a sudden she had something on him. And every time she brought it up, she would bring it up thinking, well, he won't leave me now. She had goods on him. And she used it like a weapon. Using the truth as a weapon is not forgiveness. Using the truth like that, you might as well say bye, because that is a very, very difficult situation. And a lot of times we've done it with spouses. We've done it with friends. If we have that little nugget and we were not the ones that transgressed, so to speak, we cannot use it when they come to us holding their hand, their heart in their hands, saying, here it is, and I'm truly sorry. If we use it as a weapon, we're just as bad.
Okay, and I'm going to take it one step further because my mind is always going.
And it might sting. Is that what you're saying?
It'll definitely sting Sally.
Yeah.
If Sally spent her whole marriage worrying about him leaving her, then in some ways her energy helped create a situation where that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm not trying to speak scripture here. I'm just saying that if our energy is on, well, Devon's one of my dearest friends, but she's probably going to lie. She's probably going to lie to me about something. Then the next time you say, I got to go feed the horses. And then and this is hypothetical because I'm not on social media enough to know when people are on social media, and quite honestly, I don't care. But if you see the little green light on and it's been on for 3 hours and then I'm all in my feelings, well, Devon said she couldn't talk to me on the phone because she was going to feed them horses. She's been on social media. She's lied to me. That's me trying to find a reason to justify, we can't do that. Well, we can. We do it great. Matter of fact, we're masters at it. Mm-hmm. But it's not healthy for us.
No.
And forgiveness, true forgiveness, is not forgetting that someone has crossed you or that something has happened that is painful or pain-filled. It's not saying that. It's saying that you are going to wipe the slate clean of that incident, and you're not going to punish yourself or that other person
Ooh,
moving
that is
forward.
that is being impeccable with our word. That is also being impeccable.
Absolutely.
Well, we've opened up a big old can of worms, and I love it. And by the way, my green light stays on all the time because I never turn it off because, even though I'm not looking at it, it
I'm
might
right there
be in
with
my
you.
back.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Like I just swipe up the little thingy. I don't log in and log out all the time.
Oh,
So
my Lord. My Lord. Yes. Candy has some before we get out of here. I had an ex-fiance who cheated on me before he got married to that woman. He sought me out to ask me to forgive him for it. I told him, no, I don't. You hurt me to my core. I hadn't had time to heal. Over 20 years went by and we talked again. And I said, it's in the past and over. That's a gift to both of you because that's a heavy suitcase. That's good. But Candy, even opening up about that is being impeccable with your word. Being honest about that. That's also being honest with yourself and saying, well, I didn't, So anyway.
Well, and you can have someone come to you and ask forgiveness for something. And you can say, I haven't processed all of this right now. I'm not in a place where I can right now. But I appreciate you asking, but I'm just not there right now.
Forgiveness means not letting someone live rent-free in my head, says Elizabeth. Yeah. Well, let's get the details on this 4 agreements workshop that you're going to be doing.
Well, you know me, I am self-proclaimed not the best at putting all the stuff on my website. So I just tell you right out front, it is going to be February the 26th. It's going to be from 10 until 4. There's going to be some light breakfasty, bagely kind of stuff there. Bring a bag lunch, and we're going to discuss. If you have your book, The 4 Agreements, bring it with you. If you don't, I'll have some on hand there that can be purchased. And we're going to discuss the 4 agreements and how we can live with implementing them into our lives where they fit. We're also going to be doing some releasing some stuff and kind of some standard things that are in just about every workshop that I do. We'll be doing, for all those people that are not familiar with the woo-woo world, we'll be doing some smudging. We'll be doing a burning bowl. But most importantly, we're going to be connecting and looking inward and growing. Because these 4 agreements, be impeccable with your word, always do your best, don't make assumptions. Well, there's one, because as human beings, we do all of those things. And then, not taking things personally. And I have people that will get stuck on the always do your best. And they're like, oh, well, if I'm always doing my best, I'm just pushing myself and I'm pushing myself. And I said, you should tell my daughter in school, she was a 4.0 kind of girl. But if she ever brought something home that wasn't a grade that she wanted it to be,
right,
I would say to her, did you do your best? Yes, Mom, I did. Well, then you know what? It is what it is. Doing your best doesn't mean punishing yourself or pressuring yourself. It means doing your best. And that can be in, you're driving down the road, somebody pulls out in front of you. In that moment, be the best you that you can be. You going to flip them off, scream at them, tailgate them, or are you going to go, well, I always go to, maybe they have somewhere they need to be. Maybe they've gotten some bad news. I don't know what their story is, but it's not personal. It's not personal. It's just Nashville driving.
Good stuff. So February 26th, 10 to 4 at your office. If you're
at my office. Yes. And it is, it's 149. And people, if they want to know more about this, they can email me at Teri@teripugh.com. They can shoot me a text or call me at 615-513-2700. They can go to teripugh.com and get both of that email and cell phone because it's out there for the world. And there is space for 6 individuals. And right now I have 3 that are ready. So there's 3 spaces left, and we just announced it officially today. So
Well, and Teresa joined us a little bit later. And if you're joining us on the replay, do a hashtag replay. We want to hear from you. And wherever you are watching this and viewing this, hopefully you will subscribe and hit that bell. We are here every Wednesday at noon-ish, unless I had a technical problem like today. So it was ish, but we're here right around this time every day. And that's why we leave it up and the replay is there. God bless you. You guys have a great day. Teri, you want to bring it home?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all for joining us and sharing with us and bringing us into your home and your workspace, because we truly do value you and appreciate you. And until we see you next time, increase the peace.